Hello and welcome to Dose of Culture. If books are your passion, this challenge is for you. 50 questions about stories, characters, and unforgettable quotes. How many will you be able to answer? Let's begin. Who authored 100 Years of Solitude? Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Which novel features Gregor Samsa, a young man who becomes an insect? The Metamorphosis. Which fictional character lives at 221 B. Baker Street? Sherlock Holmes. Which of these books was written by George Orwell? Animal Farm. Which novel begins with the phrase, "Call me Ishmael"? Moby Dick. Which Latin American writer won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2010? Mario Vargas Llosa. Which poet wrote 20 love poems and a song of despair? Pablo Neruda. Which author is known for his short horror stories, The Telltale Heart? Edgar Allan Poe. Who guides Dante on his journey through hell in the Divine Comedy? Virgil. What is Jane Austen's best-known work? Pride and Prejudice. Which writer created the universe of The Lord of the Rings? J.R.R. Tolkien. Who wrote The House of the Spirits? Isabel Allende. Which novel by Mary Shelley is considered the first science fiction novel? Frankenstein. Who are D'Artagnan's three musketeer companions called? Aramis, Athos, and Porthos. Who wrote The Name of the Rose? Umberto Eco. Which novel takes place in Big Brother's dystopian future? (1984). It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. In which novel does this phrase appear? A Tale of Two Cities. One of the most important novels written by Ernest Hemingway is The Old Man and the Sea. Who wrote Crime and Punishment? Fyodor Dostoevsky. Which book was written by Bram Stoker in 1897? Dracula. What is Don Quixote's horse's name? Rocinante. Who wrote Don Quixote de la Mancha? Miguel de Cervantes. Which Shakespeare character says to be or not to be? That is the question. Hamlet. Which of these works was written by Harper Lee? To Kill a Mockingbird. What is the name of the imaginary city where 100 Years of Solitude takes place? Macondo. What kind of animal was Moby Dick? Sperm whale. Which families do the protagonists of Romeo and Juliet belong to? Giulietto and Montague. What is the name of Captain Nemo's submarine in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Nautilus. Dr. Victor Frankenstein creates a creature that inspires fear and rejection. What was the name of this creature? It doesn't have a name. In Don Quixote de la Mancha, what does the protagonist mistake for giants? Windmills. Which book shows a dystopia where firefighters destroy books? Fahrenheit 451. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Which novel does this critique phrase belong to? Animal Farm. Which novel tells the story of children who end up becoming savages on an island? Lord of the Flies. Which character sees his portrait age, not himself? Dorian Gray. On his first journey, Gulliver wakes up tied to the ground by tiny people. What is the name of this country? Lilliput. Who wrote Rayuela? Julio Cortázar. Who is the main character of the Iliad? Achilles. In the Odyssey, who holds Odysseus on her island for years? Calypso. In Alice in Wonderland, which animal is always late? The rabbit. Which animal teaches the little prince the true meaning of friendship? A fox. Of which country is Hamlet a prince? Denmark. What do the inhabitants of a brave new world use to calm themselves? Zoma. Who wrote the Aleph? Jorge Luis Borges. Who wrote Les Miserables? Victor Hugo. What name does Robinson Crusoe give to the native he rescues? Friday. In the novel Around the World in 80 Days, from which city does Phileas Fogg depart to travel around the world? From London. Which part of Pinocchio's body grows when he lies? The nose. Which famous writer was born and died on the same day, April 23rd? William Shakespeare. Which famous detective was created by Agatha Christie? Hercule Poirot. After all, tomorrow is another day. Which novel ends with this phrase? Gone with the Wind. Did you want more? Click on any of the videos you see on the screen. And keep learning with Culture Dose.